What's up, y'all? It's your girl Queen P, and I'm here today to talk to you about fibroids, my journey in particular about fibroids, and my healing story. I'm currently 3 weeks post-op from a myomectomy, and it has been one of the most crazy journeys I have ever experienced in my life. It's been life-changing. It's been really difficult. It's been very long, let me say that. Years. Like since 2021 is really when they started like exacerbating. But I feel like I'm pretty sure that they've been cooking, they've been brewing in my body for many years prior to that, but they just probably didn't come to the symptoms didn't come to surface until 2021. It's been a long journey, and I just want to talk about fibroids today because it's something that's not being talked about enough. The fact that Black women are disproportionately being diagnosed with all these ailments with our reproductive organs at such alarming rates, and as opposed to our counterparts, and nobody is talking about it. It's just ridiculous and beyond me, and I just can't fathom or understand why nobody can figure out or let us know why this is happening, how this is happening, what can be done to prevent it. It's just crazy that the very first thing that healthcare providers resort to once the diagnosis comes back is, oh, you got to get a hysterectomy. And it's like, huh? Hold on. Like, what you mean? Like, there's no treatment. You don't know. You can't tell me nothing about nothing. Like, why the first thing you try to resort to is take my uterus from me? Like, what's really going on? I mean, I don't want to sound paranoid or nothing, but in my mind, it makes me think about all kind of other crazy stuff, because it's like, okay, first of all, it makes me wonder, like, are Black women being targeted and sabotaged purposely? Because we all know, they don't really want us reproducing, and we all know our organs is a hot commodity, so the first thing they want to do is take our organs or prevent us from reproducing, politically speaking, right? Again, it might be a little too deep for some of y'all, but let's just keep it a buck. The disparities that Black women experience in healthcare, especially when it comes to childbirth and our reproductive rights, is always in question. Like, every time Black women complain about pain or have requests or just anything, it's always dismissed by healthcare providers, or they always assume like, oh, she'll be all right, she's strong, and it's like, no. Why are requests or our complaints or our concerns or issues always being dismissed? You know what I mean? So it gets real deep. And me being a person who had fibroids and walked through this journey, it just inspired me to really want to just do like extensive research to figure out why this is happening to Black women at an alarming rate. And when I say alarming rate, I mean 70 to 80% of Black women will have fibroids in their lifetime, as opposed to our counterparts. I just want to know why nobody is talking about it, why nobody is doing research about it, why nobody can tell me how this happened or ways to prevent it without throwing the idea of hysterectomy at Black women. That's just not cool. That ain't it. Now, for me, I haven't even had children yet. So it's like, that's not even an option for me. And even if, I do decide not to reproduce, I'm still not finna give you my organs, period. That's not happening. Now, I do want to mention that there are many other factors that may contribute to fibroid growth. Like, in particular for me in 2021, when they started really showing their symptoms, I was under a lot of stress. I was in a stressful relationship, so that may have exacerbated them and caused them to grow. When I first, realized that there was something going on, like, my stomach started protruding, and people were always like, oh, y'all expecting? And I'm like, huh? No, I'm not pregnant. That's when I knew something, was really happening in my body that I really need to go figure out. On top of, I was having excessive crazy amounts of blood coming out during my menstrual cycles. Like, I would have clots coming out. If I went to the bathroom, I don't want to be too graphic, but it will almost be like a massacre was occurring, okay? Like, it was almost as if I was hemorrhaging, because it would be large amounts of blood and clots just coming out every time I would bear down. Like, sometimes I wouldn't even make it to the toilet. As soon as I would pull my pants down, it was just a mess. Like, I would make a mess. And even in my sleep, like, I would wake up to a mess. And it was just like, what is going on? I don't know. I want to say maybe stress contributed to that, to the fibroid growth, because when I first got an MRI, they told me, oh, your fibroids are like 8-9 centimeters, right? And so I just went on with my life. I didn't do anything about it. I didn't take it seriously, which is a mistake. And the reason why I didn't take it seriously is because my OBGYN, the only thing she was saying was, oh, well, let's put you on birth control. And it was like, I'm not doing that. I literally just got off birth control a couple years ago after a very prolonged amount of time. I'm not doing that anymore. Like, I want to have my body regulated on its own. And the only reason why I was on birth control is because I didn't want to get caught up in that lifestyle. Like, I was in college, I was pursuing my higher education. I wanted to have my career without any distractions or detours. You know, I wanted to do things the right way. And so I opted to get on birth control to avoid any of those issues, right? And so once I graduated from grad school and I started my career and everything, I was like, okay, now it's safe for me to get off these oral contraceptives, aka these artificial hormones. So I got off of them, and a couple years my body was good. My periods would come every month as they were supposed to. I noticed I started losing weight too, so I would say the birth control definitely contributed to weight gain. So many changes happened in my body, but positive changes though. And so that's when I knew, like, okay, the birth control thing is just not good for you. It's not. So who knows if that may have contributed to fibroid growth. Because like I said, I was on birth control for like 10 years, like a whole decade, okay? Also, there's this idea that possibly fibroids affect the Black community, or Black women rather, more than our counterparts, because who's to say that they didn't develop from deep-rooted trauma post-slavery from our foremothers? You know, we do carry a lot of trauma and things like that in our womb, right? That's where we store trauma. And so there's a tendency to store trauma in our wombs. The philosophy is that deep-rooted trauma from slavery or just constant oppression and things like that could, from our foremothers, right, could have later developed into fibroids or endometriosis or adenomyosis or whatever type of reproductive ailment you may have as a Black woman. That's one of the theories that I conjured in my mind. Not conjured, but that's just one of the things that I thought about. Like, okay, is it stored trauma in through our DNA that later developed into fibroids? Or could it be from birth control? Or could it be from me using hair products? Okay, because I mean, yes, I did wear relaxers. I mean, I'm pretty sure majority of Black women wore relaxers growing up. If you were a child of a baby boomer, you wore a relaxer in your hair. Okay, they wasn't combing our hair like that. They was throwing a perm on it or a relaxer on that thing and, hey, telling you to go on about your business, you know. I know my mama, she definitely was quick to throw a relaxer on my head. She wasn't all about that natural hair care lifestyle. Okay, that didn't start till later on down the line. But yeah, I was an avid relaxer wearing young girl. I'm natural now underneath all the tresses and everything, but I do still use hair care products, and I just recently started using products that were like paraben free and things that are more neutral. Who's to say? It could be from hair care chemicals, even skincare products. You know, it could be that too. It could be the birth control. It could have been the stored trauma post-slavery from our foremothers. You know what I mean? It could be so many other factors why these fibroids develop in Black women at disproportionate rates other than our counterparts, right? So we don't want to rule out those things. But then on the other end, it's like, okay, there's still women being diagnosed with fibroids who absolutely have never used relaxers, right? So it's like, okay, you can't just attribute it to only that. There are other Black women who have never been on birth control who still get fibroids, right? So you can't even, you want to rule that out too. There's so many questions with no answers that make you think about why this occurred. The number one thing though that I know may have contributed to it only affecting us is something to do with stored trauma and stress and things like that. Like I said, when I was going through a stressful time, that exacerbated the fibroids. You know what I mean? I definitely want to say that that definitely is something that contributed to it. Because of the fibroids, I had so many other health ailments occur due to them. Like I said, I was losing a whole lot of blood every month during my periods. My periods would last over a week. One time I was on my period for a full month. And because of the long periods and the amount of blood I was losing, my hemoglobin dropped extremely, like dangerously low. So, which means all my iron was completely depleted. Like I had no iron in my body. You're supposed to be at least a level of 12 and above for your iron levels, right? Your hemoglobin. You go to your doctor and you do your blood work. They're going to do a complete blood count check, right? And so if your hemoglobin is less than 12, you're considered anemic. And I was dangerously anemic. Like my levels were so low. I started losing my hair. My hair completely fell out. I was just so weak, like extremely weak. I had no energy throughout the day. Like I was irritable, tired. Like I could sleep for like 9 hours, or at least attempt to sleep for 9 hours, and still wake up completely exhausted, right? I had just no energy whatsoever. Due to the fibroids, I had other issues going on too. Like, I had developed hypertension, right? And that's because my heart was stressed due to my hemoglobin levels being extremely low. Oxygen was not being pumped throughout my body the way it should have been, which caused excess stress on my heart, which caused my blood pressure to be sky high. And when I say sky high, I mean stroke level. Like I had pressure readings that will be like 180 over 99. Like what? Like people were surprised. Like I remember the first time it was so high like that, my nurse who was, doing my checking my vitals was like, oh my God, you need to be admitted. Are you dizzy? Like, I'm like, no, I'm not dizzy. I'm fine. And that's through the grace of God, but technically that's stroke level. Like I should have been passed out or extremely dizzy or lightheaded or anything, because that's just crazy. Okay. But yeah, my blood pressure was sky high. I was extremely weak. I lost all my hair. My nails were brittle. They were breaking, which is why I had to stop even wearing. I normally get my nails done, but I couldn't even, they were so weak, I couldn't wear polish. I couldn't wear nails, like nothing. Even my toenails had started getting dark, lack of oxygen in my blood because my iron was just depleted. What else? I was just in excessive pain every day. My stomach was protruding. It looked like I was 6 months pregnant. I couldn't even lay on my side because it was just, the fibroids were like, you could literally feel them and see them. Like my stomach was lumpy. It was pushing up against my diaphragm, right? And so I had shortness of breath. Like I couldn't work out without losing my breath. I could barely walk a flight of stairs without losing my breath, which is wild because I've always been so health conscious, right? And at the time I was in the gym heavy. I was working out heavy. Like I was boxing, kickboxing, all that. And so for me to be out of breath was it just made no sense, because it's like, no, I'm used to high intensity training, right? I'm used to doing my HIIT every day. I was in that thing doing my workouts. Like, I could jog for a couple miles without, feeling like I'm about to die. You know what I mean? Like, I had got my body conditioned, basically. I was training pretty well, fairly well. So for me to feel that sensation of shortness of breath just from short walk, something was wrong, right? I knew something was wrong. Like, I couldn't understand that. But really what was going on was that the fibroids were pushing up against my lungs and on my diaphragm. So I couldn't breathe. It was just so bad, y'all. The fibroids caused so many health disparities in me, and I'm just so grateful to God that I overcame. I survived the procedure and I was able to get them removed successfully. Now, why did I wait so long to get treatment? A variety of factors. First of all, I had Kaiser, right? And like I stated before, these people don't have no answers as to why they form, how to prevent them, what other alternatives can be done other than hysterectomy. And so it's like, I'm not accepting a hysterectomy as my only option. I'm sorry. I've seen like a few OBGYNs while I was under care with Kaiser. The first lady, she was like, well, I can go in and like, I would have to do a T-cut incision. So she was trying to literally mutilate my body to remove the fibroids. And then she was like, but it's no guarantee that I can get them all. Like, I'm only gonna be able to get the large one. And when I say the large ones, my largest fibroid, when I first got an MRI in 2021, my largest fibroid was like 8 to 10 centimeters, right? But once I started realizing that I was losing more and more hair, getting more and more weaker, I went back and I got another MRI and they grew. The largest one was like 12 centimeters. And obviously they grew in size and in number, because the MRI literally said that the amount of fibroids that they saw was innumerable. Like, that was the term they used, innumerable, which means that they couldn't even determine how many were in there, right? Yeah, the lady, the OBG at Kaiser was like, well, I can go in and I could take out the large ones, but I can't take out all of them. And on top of that, I'm gonna give you a T-cut. So I was like, what? Absolutely not. So I went to another Kaiser OBGYN and she was just like, well, hysterectomy. And I was like, what? Absolutely not, right? And so you started trying to do research. I started going on the internet, just doing research for hours and hours, like trying to find any and everything I could. Like, are there natural remedies to help shrink these things? Can they fall out? What can I do other than resort to having my organs removed or resort to being mutilated? I don't want this ugly scar on my body. And then there's the possibility that the fibroids that are remaining will still give me problems, or those will grow. You know what I mean? After extensive research, I finally found an OBGYN who could do the procedure with minimally invasive incisions, just one incision at the bikini line, right? Like a C-section. However, I would have to change my insurance. It wasn't through Kaiser. So through my job, you can only change your insurance once every year, right? So when I started doing the research, it was only like around May. So I had to go the rest of the year before I can change my insurance to a private PPO insurance option to actually go see this surgeon all the way in Chicago. Yes, I had to find a surgeon in Chicago, y'all. Like, there was nobody in LA. And I've done tons of research. I got tons of consultations done, and everybody was saying the same thing. Hysterectomy, oh, T-cut, oh, there's no guarantee I can get them all. Just stuff that I didn't want to hear. So yes, that's why it took so long, because I refused to let these people tell me that there were no options for me other than what I stated. So glad and so thankful that I continue to hold on and advocate for myself, because I finally found somebody, y'all, who could get all the fibroids removed. And when I say all of them, y'all, I had a whopping 100 plus fibroids in my uterus. Yes, over 100, y'all. I'm still flabbergasted. Like, I can't believe I had that many, like over 100. Like, what? I just can't believe that all that was going on inside of my body, man. I'm still just floored about it, and I'm just so grateful for that surgeon. I was in surgery for like 6 to 7 hours. He literally fingered through my uterus, like filleted my uterus, fingered through it, and got every single piece of tissue that was abnormal looking. Man, he took it out. Like, every fibroid, big ones, little ones. I had a big one that was, the largest was like 13 centimeters. The smallest was like pebbles, right? So that's why it was like over 100, because it was just like a whole bunch of little ones, clusters, large ones, just all type of abnormal tissue just going on. And that man took every single or abnormality out, and I'm just forever indebted to him. So I have now 700 stitches in my uterus. 3 weeks post-op. Man, it was hard, y'all. It was so hard. I was in excruciating pain for like 3 days. And then finally I was able to get my pain levels sort of stabilized. But for me, my particular procedure was harder than a lot of other people who may have received myomectomies. And that's what my surgeon told me, because he said when he went in, he wasn't expecting to see so many. He said my fibroids were abnormal looking tissue, were scattered everywhere. He said that I had adenomyosis, which I was not even diagnosed with until he actually went in and cut me open and seen what was going on. And what that is, adenomyosis, which I still don't even know all the full details about it, but it causes your uterus to be extremely enlarged. So my uterus in particular was very boggy, very bulky, right? Even after he took the largest fibroids out, my uterus was still like super huge, right? Yeah, my particular procedure was just extensive and abnormal. He said the tissue in my uterus that he found was so abnormal that he had to take those pieces and send it to the lab. Like, what is this? Is it cancerous? But thank God it was all benign, no cancer, praise God. Even the lab, once they sent the results back, on the report, it said bizarre. Like, they've never even seen anything like that before. Like, I'm the first person that they've seen that with. I'm just so grateful, you know. It's just crazy that all that was going on inside me. I still can't even fathom the level of absurdity, the level of chaos that was going on in my uterus. But yeah, over 100 tumors removed, over 700 stitches in my uterus right now, and he was able to do that all with one incision, one minimally invasive horizontal incision, no T-cut, just one small horizontal incision, like a C-section. My scar right now, it looks immaculate. It's barely there, y'all. Like, it looks like I was never even cut. So my surgeon was the GOAT, okay? And that's all because I took the time to be patient, do my research, continue to advocate for myself. If you are a Black woman that's diagnosed with fibroids, do not let them tell you gotta get a hysterectomy. Do not let them tell you gotta get that T-cut. Do not let them coerce you or scare you into thinking that you can't get the type of treatment that you need or that you desire, rather. Okay, do your research, find you a surgeon, and I'm gonna link all my surgeon's details in the description. I'm gonna let y'all know exactly who I went to see. I'm also gonna end up posting my real-time journey, because I did document that as well. I'm also gonna let y'all see my before and afters, all that stuff. Like, I'm gonna be transparent about everything, y'all. And if you got questions, please leave them in the comment section. I'm willing to answer any and everybody, because I just want us to win when it comes to this journey. You know, when it comes to this battle with fibroids and endometriosis, etc. Like, I don't understand why Black women have to continue to suffer. I hate that there's not being much done about it. I'm a survivor of this thing. I'm going to continue to do my due diligence to speak up about it, speak out about it, figure out answers. You know, I want to be an advocate for fibroids. So I'm going to continue to, like I said, continue to speak up, speak out, research, and help wherever I can when it comes to fibroids and treatment options. That's my spiel on fibroids. Stay tuned for my actual fibroid journey, pre and post op. It's your girl Queen P. Like and subscribe, leave all your questions below, and I will see you in the next video.